Presiding Officer, long waits are forcing those who can afford it to go private. A two-tier health service in Scotland is now beyond question. If you can stump up the cash, then you can get the care you need. But we all value an NHS free at the point of use. Yet Scotland is sleepwalking into sacrificing this principle, threatening the very existence of the National Health Service as we know it. Not my words, Presiding Officer, the words of Dr Iain Kennedy, the chair of BMA Scotland, talking about the NHS in Scotland right now on the SNP's watch. Is Dr Kennedy wrong?
First Minister.
I have the greatest respect for the comments of Dr Kennedy, and I listened and read Dr Kennedy's comments with great care, and I take them seriously, because Dr Kennedy makes a significant warning to us about what lies ahead. Absolutely. I have been completely candid. I have been... Well, this will be interesting to see, because I don't think it's any secret that we're going to have a Labour government in a little while time, and we're going to have to see how the dialogue develops here. Yep. To see, because in about a week on Friday, the issues that have been raised with me about the health service are going to be the Labour Party's problem, yep. And they're going to have to engage. Mr Mara, I don't need you to shout at me about taking responsibility. I take my responsibilities deadly seriously. But what I'm calling for is a serious conversation about what lies ahead. Because the health service is a product of the investment we can make through the public finances. And as I've just explained to Mr Ross, when we came to office, the health service occupied 33% of our budget, and it now occupies nearly 50%. So we've taken the hard decisions, including increasing tax on higher earners, to invest more in the health service, which Mr Mara and Mr Sarwar want us to reverse. Yeah. Now, if we look ahead, the Labour Party is proposing an extra £134 million of investment in the health service in Scotland as a consequence of their election victory. That's what they're offering. The last spring budget health consequentials that we got from the awful Tories were £237 million. So I invite Anas Sarwar to do the maths. We cannot prolong austerity, and that's what the Labour Party is offering. And until the Labour Party offers a sensible way out of austerity, people in Scotland won't take it all seriously.
Anas Sarwar.
Officer, that is frankly an embarrassing response. You have been in charge of the NHS for 17 years, and the chair of the BMA is saying we now have a two-tier health service under an SNP government, and all John Swinney spoke about was what would happen if, as I hope, and many in Scotland hope too, we get a Labour government after the 4th of July. What about this government's responsibility and what's happening to people right now? Because the reality of Dr Kennedy's comments is that many people feel they have to pay because they've been waiting too long for treatment. No answers from John Swinney to those people. And nothing sums up SNP waiting time failure like cancer. 2 weeks ago, I highlighted the scandal of cancer patients having to pay privately for chemotherapy. Think about that for a moment, Mr Swinney, when you give your next answer. Cancer is Scotland's biggest killer. It has touched every family in Scotland. And on Tuesday, it was confirmed that under this SNP government, we have failed to meet the 62-day treatment standard for cancer treatment. In fact, it's not been met for 12 years. And in that time, almost 26,000 cancer patients have waited too long. 5,000 patients in the last year alone. So how much longer do these cancer patients and their families need to listen to this SNP government blame somebody else for their own government's failure?
Always through the chair, please. First Minister.
So let me go through some of the steps that we've taken to strengthen cancer care within Scotland and to demonstrate the increased level of activity that is taking place. Firstly, in relation to the significant increase in postings that we have in cancer care, we have funded the creation of 15 extra posts in clinical oncology, 6 in medical oncology, 68 in clinical radiology and 10 in clinical interventional radiology. There has been a 50% increase in consultant oncologists in the last decade, and we've increased the number of consultant radiologists by 34% over the same period. Now, if we look at the volume of individuals being treated, over 15% more patients were treated on 62-day urgent suspicion of cancer pathway than in late 2019 before the COVID pandemic. And that is 47% more than 10 years ago. 22% more patients were treated on the 31-day pathway compared to 10 years ago. So my answers there are directly addressing Mr Sarwar's point about what are we doing to treat and support more people. We're expanding the number of people delivering that specialist care, and we are making sure that more patients are being treated on both the 31-day and the 62-day pathways. Now, there are also other measures being taken, such as, for example, the rapid cancer diagnostic services that are now being delivered in parts of the country. In NHS 5, for example, the average wait for referral from diagnosis has gone from 77.5 days to 11.4 days. In Dumfries and Galloway, that average wait has gone from 78.7 days to 13.6 days. So I put that information on the record to reassure members of the public that the government is investing, we are treating more people, and more people are being treated more quickly. But I accept there remain challenges in the delivery of healthcare and in cancer care, and that is why I believe we have to have an honest conversation about the financial support that is required to support investment in our health service.
Absolutely. There are many members who wish to put questions today, and I'd be grateful for more concise questions and responses. Anas Sarwar.
I can't wait to have that honest conversation about the performance of this SNP government when it comes to the NHS in the run-up to election in 2026, and neither can many people across the country. 5,000 patients last year waited too long to get their cancer treatment. And I said last week that long waits cost lives, because we all know that the faster someone gets treatment, the higher their chances of survival from cancer. Now, earlier this month, Professor Farah Din of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh told the Scottish Parliament Health Committee, and I quote, "As a cancer surgeon, when patients in my clinic ask me when their operation will be, that is a very difficult conversation to have. Each of those people is part of a family, and their anxiety is for them. There's also anxiety for our clinicians, because we are trying to deliver care, but we cannot deliver the high standard of care that we've been trained to deliver." First Minister, 26,000 cancer patients and their families have faced this anxiety and waited too long on the SNP's watch. Can you explain why to them and their doctors?
First Minister.
I've set out in considerable detail, and the presiding officer has asked me to keep my remarks limited, so I won't repeat all that I've just put on the record in my answer. But what I said in my answer is a demonstration of two things. One, the investment in specialism and specialist capacity to enable us to treat cancer patients, and two, being prepared to put the resources in to enable that to happen. That has not happened by accident. It happened because ministers in this government took a decision to increase tax for higher earners so we could spend more on health than was provided by the UK government in consequentials, and secondly, that we decided not to pass on a Barnett consequential to the hospitality sector, but instead to invest that in the National Health Service. Now, I'm contributing to the debate just now, acknowledging the significant pressures on the National Health Service, but also the significant burden created by prolonged austerity. What I worry about, and I worry about it deeply, is I do not hear a willingness on the part of the Labour Party to take a different course of direction, to invest more in our National Health Service to ensure we can deliver the care that people require. And I want to make sure that that is well understood by people in the course of the next week, to ensure that people are fully informed about the limitations of the position that has been offered by the Labour Party, and to demonstrate the commitments that we have given to put our money where our mouth is, to put taxes up, to increase investment in the National Health Service, and to deliver for the people of this country.